Alright you guys, so I am starting out with the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Primer. This is a mattifying primer sunscreen with clay, normal to oily skin. So I do have combo skin. Right now we're having some hormonal acne breakouts right here, and the rest of my skin is pretty dry, but it's just, sometimes it's super, well, my nose is always super oily. Like if you guys have ever watched any of my videos, I pretty much say it in all of them because I do, like, that's something that I always struggle with, and so it's part of the reason for the way that my makeup routine is kind of set up. I do have a kind of fun weekend planned. So today is Saturday morning. I'm gonna go in with the Smashbox primer, or photo finish primer water really quick. I love going in with a primer water first. I feel like it helps everything go in super nicely and smooth, and it's really refreshing. I think I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Super Stay Full Coverage Foundation. This is a staple for me. I think that this is actually kind of a dupe for the, let's see, the Fenty Beauty Foundation, but I do think that the Fenty Foundation is a little bit lighter. I might mix the two today. I just really like, this one has a little bit more full coverage, it is a little bit more matte. But the Fenty Beauty one is also really nice, and it's a little bit more of a soft matte finish as opposed to, I guess, something a little bit more intense or harsh. But yeah, so my nose is like my problem area, so, and I'm breaking out, and that's why I'm going in with full coverage foundations today. We're really not trying to skip out on any coverage. Look how beautifully this covers up. Like, I know I've got texture here, but like I've got all this redness, and honestly, these are two of my favorite foundations. I think the Fenty Beauty one is my favorite high-end foundation. I don't normally buy high-end foundations because I just feel like they're not that worth it, just because the drugstore does such a good job at complexion lately. Before, yeah, it was definitely different, but like the drugstore from the time that I like started doing makeup to now basically has stepped it up so much that it's very, very comparable. Like, I think that if I ever had to just choose one foundation for the rest of my life, it would be this one. Like, yes, it's full coverage, but that's what I love about it. And it's also, when I first tried it, I remember not liking it because I thought it was too drying or like too mattifying, and I wasn't used to that because I was using just the regular Maybelline Fit Me. But basically after using it and experiencing it after a while, I realized that it's actually one of the only foundations that like applies really nicely on my nose and just really doesn't give me any trouble. So I'm going to go in with my Milk Makeup Matte Bronzing Stick. I have this one in the shade Baked. I love this. I think that it makes doing your bronzer so much easier in the routine. I feel like it makes it look less cakey. It makes everything last a little bit longer. And I tend to apply less powder bronzer, which ends up making my face look less cakey and like too much. I definitely, when I just go in with powder bronzer, I feel like I do a little bit too much, and I love the shade of this. A really good drugstore dupe is the e.l.f. one. For the e.l.f. one, I have this shade Tan Lines, and it's literally like a perfect color match. I like this one a little bit more because it's more creamy, and I like the applicator on this because like you just twist it out. With the e.l.f. one, you kind of have to dip your brush into the little pot. But honestly, that's the only difference. The product themselves are very similar, and I happen to like shade match them pretty spot on. So both shades are super similar and give me the same result. It just, the other one's a little bit harder to get out of the pot and a tad bit less dewy, but I kind of like that because this one's a little bit too dewy. It's nice to apply, but then when you actually are gonna, you know, wear it throughout the day, the other one I think lasts a little bit better. I'm gonna take the shade Tan Sand in the e.l.f. 16 Hour Concealer, just because this is kind of a deeper shade, and I'm gonna kind of pat it over that problem area over here. And I'm actually going to take this one on my forehead as well because I don't want it to be too light. Also, let's go ahead and pick out what powder I'm going to use today. I've been loving the Hailey's Beauty one, but I don't really have enough in this container to like do my full face right now, so I think I'm going to skip that one. And I think I'm going to jump to my Peach Perfect powder. Normally when I am doing my makeup for something that I want it to last a really long time or just like kind of feel special, I will gravitate towards some of my higher end products. But honestly, this powder is great, but there's like the Hailey's Beauty one is like such a dupe for it in formula. And then this, you guys, this is such an OG product for me. This is the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro Concealer in the shade 104. It's such a beautiful shade for me. It's not too drying. It's really full coverage. The only thing is I don't love the applicator. Like you can see I'm kind of holding it like this because it just kind of like squirts out, and sometimes it's way too much, just like right then. And then you have a bunch of product left over. So that's the one thing I don't love about that. And I think what I want to do is like empty a concealer tube and just pop that in one of them, because it's kind of infuriating that that happens so often. But yeah, I apply the bronzer first and then I go in with the concealer. This concealer, the e.l.f. one, dries pretty fast, so you do have to work quickly. I love the color of this. It's so pretty, but it seems a little bit light right now. I think I'm going to kind of dab off some of this product. I think that's the other thing, is I kind of went in with too much product. Not on purpose, and I honestly do forget how full coverage this is. Like I know it's full coverage, but like hello, dang, it's a lot. Okay, so I'm going to blend this out real quick, and then I'm going to go in with my Peach Perfect powder just so we're not wasting time. We know this process, it takes a while. I also do apply it with my Tati Beauty Blendiful, the powder. It's just a really nice powder puff. It's super smoothing, and that's why I like it. But at the end of the day, it's just a powder puff, so don't feel like you need to get this powder puff. All right, now that we look kind of like a powdered pancake, we're going to, I'm basically just taking a fluffy brush. This one's from Equate Beauty. I love how like absolutely fat it is. And I'm gonna set both my neck so that it doesn't like smudge around throughout the day, and then I'm pressing that powder into my skin. It's supposed to be really, really hot and humid, and so we're planning for hot, humid. But I don't like to bake, so I literally applied this and almost instantly kind of took it off. I'm gonna use the Jaclyn Hill compact. This is in the shade Warm Flush and Golden Goddess. This is their bronzer and blush duo. I really like both of the products in here. The bronzer is probably the thing that I've used the most of. It's super, like, I love the shade. It's really nice and warm. Now I'm jumping in with the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 200 to contour my nose. I'm using a really small, kind of dense little brush to do this. This is how I always contour my nose. I normally don't do this on camera. And also I'm going to do this on the bottom of my lip as well. So the one thing that I have to say about this palette is that the shade that I chose, despite absolutely loving the formula, it's a little bit too warm to contour my nose. I know the shade looks similar, but this one's a little bit more cool. This is the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 200. So I use this one to kind of contour my face a little bit more. But yeah, it's super similar in shade. It's just like a tad bit more cool tone. Still a bronzer though. I don't really love contouring. And I think that's why, I just think that like warmer shades look better on me. So anytime I'm going to contour, I tend to gravitate towards shades like this. And then I love applying like a first layer of blush that's like kind of sheen or like shimmery, or just not like a super intense blush. I love applying it with this duo fiber brush from Eco Tools. And I love the Jaclyn Hill bronzer or blush for this. It is such a gorgeous blush. Like if you are just getting into blush, this one is gorgeous. It's got a little bit of a sheen, but like not too much. It's the perfect amount of like, God, it's the perfect color. Like it reminds me a lot of Luminoso, and it reminds me of it a lot. But the only difference is that this one, even though it looks as like sheeny and shimmery, the Jaclyn Hill one, it's not. I'll go ahead and apply Luminoso on the other side really quick for you guys, so you can kind of see it. But the Jaclyn Hill one gives off more pigment, like a lot more pinky pigment, which is part of the reason I like it. I'm going to take it up to my temples a little bit. I love that look lately. But yeah, it's like not as shiny. You can see the sheen to my cheek a little bit more, but it's not the same. Luminoso is a really great drugstore dupe for it though. It's just a little bit more sheen. You can already see like how much like sheen that brought to my cheeks. So I'm going to pop it up here. I feel like they have other shades of like, they're like luminous like blushes like this, so maybe try to see if you can find one maybe like a shade deeper. But yeah, no one takes anything away from Luminoso. It's a beautiful blush. It's just a little bit more luminous and a little bit less pigmented, but like they're kind of dupes. I'm gonna take the rest of Luminoso on this side just to kind of even out the sheen factor on this side, because obviously I've got to make my face look even, but I just wanted to kind of mention that. I feel like this shade, every time I use it, reminds me of it, but like I know the difference between Luminoso and this blush from Jaclyn Cosmetics. And if you don't like a lot of blush, don't come for me. I used to hate blush, like literally would never apply it. I was totally a bronzer girl. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, this is life-changing. We love blush. I want it everywhere. I also use this to kind of run it a little bit on my nose. It blends out the contour a little bit and kind of evens out the face just a smidge. And again, it's not too much. I tried to like, that's why I'm using this brush. But yeah, I really love this. And it comes with a great mirror, so if you're traveling, like I often am, this is great. Okay, so really quickly off camera, I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. I'm going to quickly like set my face in between the makeup. So I'm going to pop on a little bit more of the primer water. I just really love doing this right before brows, before I have anything else. Like now that my base is done, all the matte products are on, I like to set my face. I like to do this multiple times throughout my routine. You guys know this if you follow me. So I'm going to do that, do my brows, and we'll be right back to get into this eye look. Okay, you guys, brows are done. I used the ABH pomade. I'm still a pomade girl. I feel like my brows are too thick to just do powder. That might sound like kind of weird and contradictory, but that's just how I feel. So I'm going to go in with the leftover product because I have a lot of it. I'm going to kind of clean up the bottom of my brows. Not that it needs cleaning up so much as I like to have a wet, like thick base before I go in with my eyeshadow. And I love that this has pigment to it because it brightens, so I never have to like highlight my brow bone. Okay guys, so I'm jumping in as promised with the Colourpop You're Golden palette, and I'm gonna start by, I'm kind of gonna do a cut crease today, I think, but I'm gonna jump in with the shade Secret Spot first, and I'm gonna apply this kind of towards the top of the brow bone. This shade, every time I apply it, I notice that it's more intense than I think it will be. So I grab very little and kind of just start diffusing with that. By the way, I'm using an this is a BH number 6 brush from the Nazanin Kavari, but this is very similar to the e.l.f. Fluffy blender brush. I actually thought it was it, and I've been thinking it's it for like a minute now, but it's not. So that's cool. And sometimes I will do just like something like this and then literally just go over it with some eyeliner, like mascara and lashes, and that's it. And as you can see, I'm trying to keep this color kind of towards the top. And whenever I dip back into the palette, I'm dipping it in such a light manner. Like, there's a lot of fallout on this shade from that first dip that I did, so I'm literally just like tapping back into it in the most like tiny subtle way. I'm not like overdoing it by any means. I love this palette, and I love that Colourpop is starting to come out with mega palettes because I like their smaller palettes, but I think that like larger palettes are just so much more useful in the long run. So that's what I love about them. The current plan is to do something kind of warm, so I'm going to take the shade Slumber down here. It is one of the more like orangey shades in the palette, which is what I'm going for. Wow, I love the way that this shade applied over top of the other one, and like that's why you do so much blending work with that initial transition shade, because then when you want to go in with another shade that's like just a hair darker, but like it's just so much easier to go in with a good transition and really take your time to blend it out. Yes, I'm going in with my previous brush and that previous shade just to make sure everything's super blended, but like that's how I like to do it. I'm constantly going back in between brushes and making sure that there's no harsh lines or anything. I think that looks really good. I love that this looks so crisp and light up front. And this is my first time using the shade Slumber, and I have to say it is the perfect terracotta like fall shade to use in your crease if you're going to do any kind of cut crease, or if you want something really warm. This palette definitely has it. I love that it's such a warm palette. I actually got this palette for my birthday, which was in June. And I totally forgot. My husband got it for me with this brush set from Colourpop, which is super exciting, and I haven't even opened these brushes yet. So I also did do a little bit of shopping at Ulta. I got some like stock up on some favorite things, and then also Ulta's having their 21 days of beauty right now, so. But yeah, look how nice these brushes are. I might even grab some of these to finish up the eye look. I totally forgot that I had them right here in front of me. And it's crazy because I had set them out in front of me to not forget, and then, you know, still forgot them. But yeah, I might have to just save them for another look because I've already used so many, like I already kind of know what brushes I'm using for this look, but I don't think I've ever bought Colourpop brushes before, so I'm excited to use these. Some of my favorite brushes are Morphe BH Cosmetics and Wet n Wild. Such a good brand, but like I feel like people underestimate how good it is for some reason. All right, so now I'm just trying to get the colors to match up because like I did blend colors, so like I'm making sure that this one is as warm as the other eye. There is a deep shade here called Warmer Days, and I like it because it has like a little bit, it's a brown, but it pulls a tiny bit purple. So I'm gonna pop this one in the outer corner here. I don't want this look to be too dark, so I'm like barely tapping in and I'm diffusing upward just a little bit. I know that this is probably just like another basic neutral look, and it honestly was supposed to come out a little bit more warm, but I think this is a good start to like the fall season. And then what I'm gonna do really quick, so I did just buy this and I'm super excited. I love e.l.f. sprays lately. I feel like they have such great mists, and they just do a really good job. So I just got this one because I didn't really ever see them having like a super long lasting spray, but this is their Stay All Night Micro Fine Setting Mist. And it has up to 16-hour wear, so we're going to use this one. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a really soft color for the lower lash line. I don't want everything to look too dark, too closed off, or too kind of blown out, but I really like this shade Basque right here. It has these like little golden shimmers in it, so I'm going to pop this one on the lower lash line. Alright guys, and then I was going to do a full cut crease, but I actually really like the subtlety of this look. And I don't want it to be, I just don't want it to be too dark because it's still summer and I feel like darker looks go further into fall in my opinion. So I'm going to take the shade On Ice, which is this beautiful shimmery shade, and I'm not going to spray my brush. I'm just going to kind of pat this on the inner part of the lid and kind of just let it disperse. I literally only tap my brush in once. I kind of want something a little bit lighter. I think that the warm tones that I use kind of already are pulling that fall vibe. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm already super excited for the fall season. Normally I'm give me summer, but I'm kind of over it because since I got that burn, I talked about it in a recent video, but I got some second-degree burns on my chest and arm. It's kind of hard to find things to wear, and I have to be constantly thinking about sunscreen and stuff, so I'm kind of ready to just have fall be here already and skip to the next season. And then I'm going to take the shade Jet Set, which is this icy white, and I'm going to pop that in the inner corner to highlight. I'm going to mix a little bit of On Ice with it because it is very white. It's funny because On Ice isn't as white, but Jet Set is incredibly bright and white. So that's it for the eyes, you guys. I really love this palette. I think it's incredible. And then I went to Ulta and I got a backup of my favorite eyeliner, which I completely ran out of. This is the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof, 16-hour waterproof, cry proof, humidity proof, and smudge proof. And I can attest to the smudge proof. And I'm going to tightline my upper waterline. I'm not going to do a full wing eyeliner today. I think I'm just going to take some brown from the palette and stamp it on my top lash line to kind of give a smoky effect. So the deepest shade here is Fling, that has some gold shimmers in it, but that's not really a problem. Normally those shimmers don't really show up anyway, especially when you're just tapping on shades like this. So I'm just going to tap this on the wing kind of effect without actually having a wing, just to kind of accentuate the eye a little bit. And then I love this eyeliner. So basically I only apply it to my top lash line and mostly on the outer third of my eye. When I tell you this doesn't smudge, you can put it on and immediately it doesn't go anywhere. I also did pick up a new mascara. This is the e.l.f. Big Mood Mega Volume and Lifting Brush Hourglass Brush Mascara. Everyone's been talking about this, so I'm excited to try it. Plus I did need a new mascara. I go through mascara pretty quickly, so I feel like I'll love this for my top lashes just because of the brush, but I don't know if I will love it for the bottom lashes. So I think it does look nice on the lower lashes, but I'm going to go in with my Essence 18-hour wear volume stylus one, just because again, I love the brush on these wands like this. It might be a little bit excessive to use two different mascaras, but I think that it just really makes a difference. And then really quick, I'm going to pop on some lashes. The lashes I'm going to be using today are from Ioni lashes. They are the extra large Wispy Dramatic. I love lashes that flare out like this, so I'm going to pop these on. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so while my lash glue is drying, I'm going to jump in with some lip liner. I'm going to be using the e.l.f. x Nabel Noor because it's a little bit darker, and then I'm also going to be mixing it with a little bit of my LA Girl Perfect Precision Lip Liner in the shade Cafe. They're a very similar shade, but the e.l.f. one is a little bit darker. And you guys know how much I love my Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. I definitely need to restock on this, but I'm using every last drop because it's so good. And then as my lashes are drying, I'm going to finish up with the NYX Wonder Pencil. This is a nice light eye pencil, and I love it for brightening up the under part of the eye, the like lower lash line. It just makes your eyes look so much bigger and awake. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but like I think it makes such a difference, especially in photos. I love it. If you have never tried it, that trick, totally try it. It makes your eyes look so much bigger. Alright guys, so this is my finished look and my outfit. This is a super cute romper. I got it off of Amazon, so if I can find the exact romper, I will link it down below. But yeah, lashes are on, makeup looks good. I'm actually really happy with the way this makeup look turned out. It's like soft and sultry. It's just the right amount of like sexy but cute and like soft and subtle. All wrapped up into one. So I love this look, and I also really love the Your Golden palette. If I'm not mistaken, this is still available on Colourpop's website. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you join me for the next one. See you then. Bye guys.